All right, welcome to the Non-Stuffy Attorneys podcast. Today we have Keith Miles. He's up in Georgia, and Keith has an estate planning and elder law practice. Thanks for joining us today, Keith.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. So tell me a little bit, about yourself, about your practice, how you got into it, all that fun stuff.
Okay. Well, I'm actually a native New Yorker, so I've been in Georgia 20 years. But I was in the New York bar first, worked up there for a while, and then decided to relocate in 2004. And I came down here, did a few things. I was a tax attorney by background first, so I was working in the tax field, and then got married. And my wife at the time wanted to do a business. So I said, well, I'll work and do my practice part-time and you go do your business full-time. And then once you got it, up to speed, then I'll go do my law practice full-time. So that was the plan. We did it for a couple of years, but then she wound up getting cancer. So with that diagnosis, I had to, it was pancreatic cancer. So if anyone knows about that, that's pretty quick once you get the diagnosis. So basically 6 months I was working on her plan for her. We had one child together and she had three before, and working on her estate, and she also had a special needs child. That experience, when she passed, I said, you know what? I need to be doing this more than I need to be doing tax work. So that's where the shift happened. That was about mid 2009. So ever since then, I've been doing estate planning, and then the elder laws. Originally was like the special needs, but then it added on to Medicaid planning, of course, because once you're doing the regular estate planning, someone has a need for long-term care. So you're kind of going back and forth, evaluating what you're going to do. So that's been my practice pretty much since that time. I'm a solo. So I have some staff that's in the office and some virtual. Staff is more, reception, handling clients, and have a paralegal that's virtual. And besides that, it's just me trying to serve my clients as best I can and take it from there.
Yeah. My cousin's wife just passed last month from pancreatic cancer. God, it's a son of a bitch, isn't it?
It's brutal.
Oh, yeah. My mother passed in 2012 from stomach cancer. That was super fast. She got diagnosed in the beginning of May of 2012 and passed in August.
Yeah.
She had no symptoms in March of 2012. No symptoms. Started getting some heartburn in April, and then they thought it was an ulcer, and then bang, just like that. She was in perfect health.
Yeah.
Really wild. Yeah.
Yeah. Cancer is not my friend. So my mom had breast cancer, similar kind of thing. That was like more extended, but once it got to that stage, it was quick. Father-in-law, kind of like yours. I remember talking to him in July. Everything was fine. November, he had some kind of brain cancer that aggressive, and he was gone. So it's just amazing how that happens. But I was always glad that I had the skills that I had, because I could help them in those moments without them having to go outside and seek help, and I can kind of just take care of them that way. So it's been nice that way to kind of give me a little closure with them too.
For sure. Yeah, that shit's terrible. Cancer is just the worst. It's like they need to come up with we need a definite cure for it. Like it's nothing. Right. So your practice, you have a few staff and then some virtual. You have like some in-person staff.
Okay. Yeah. So just it's kind of, for my setting is a shared setting. So we kind of share the people up front with other firms that are not estate planning firms, immigration, the real estate. Some other people do some other things. And then I have a paralegal for my firm. And now that virtual paralegal is not only virtual, but overseas. So that's another coordination issue, because there's a big time difference. So we kind of have to work through that. I did have another paralegal before, so I might bring another one back that just kind of focus on drafting, and then the other one is more customer service, checking with clients, keeping cases going.
Yeah. So you have one paralegal that's in office with you?
No, that's no one's in office with me, virtual. Yeah.
That's the one that's overseas.
Correct.
Okay.
Both of them, even the one that was going to be drafting, is they're in the U.S., but they're not even in Georgia. So I haven't had anyone who's actually here with me. And then I do my practices in office in my Duluth office. You can have meetings Zoom, because once COVID hit, started with the Zoom, and then after it was done, everyone still seemed to like it. So I have both offerings. So I'll do Zoom. Right now I'm in my office, and I met with someone earlier today, but tomorrow I might do all Zoom meetings. I might be home in my home office. It's kind of whatever the date dictates.
Yeah. How do you like that?
I love it. I have small children, school-age children, not small. They're a senior in 6th grade, but it allows me the ability to, be at events and other things and when I need to make my schedule flexible. I have a transactional practice purposely because I want to have some ability to control my schedule. So I don't have, court, dates here and there to kind of throw me around. So I kind of purposely made my practice a certain way. Now, of course, that limits certain things, that I can do financially sometimes, but I think it's worth the trade-off.
Yeah, definitely a trade-off. We've kind of gone, in the direction of, we have all of our employees, not all of them, but there's a couple remote ones. None are overseas, a couple remote, but they're all in Florida. But yeah, we've kind of gone balls to the wall with the practice. It's like, we got a personal assistant to be able to initially drive our daughter to gymnastics, and then she started doing our laundry and all and then she was food shopping for us, and just so that we could be at the office. But yeah, to each his own. It's definitely a trade-off. We're kind of lucky in that sense because our daughter was so involved with sports that we weren't really missing out on her life, right? Because as soon as she would get out of school, she would go and do gymnastics 4 days a week for 4 hours a pop. Wow. Yeah, I know as well. Yeah.
My daughter did the gymnastics thing for a little bit. It didn't grow on me. I'm glad when she moved on. It just did not. Yeah.
No,
I applaud you, sir.
Well, I don't do it anymore. So this was when we started the practice. This would have been, we started almost 5 years ago, and then about a year and a half into it, she was still doing gymnastics. The drive to her gymnastics studio was like 30 minutes. So we'd have to pick her up from school. We had to pick her up early because, we had to pick her up early from school, drive. Her school got out at like 5, which was really good for working. They didn't start until late, but it was really good for working parents.
Right.
But so we'd have to pick her up at 4, get her down there, drive a half an hour, drop her off, drive a half an hour back, and then pick her up at 8:30, 9 o'clock. So it was 2 hours of driving, 4 days a week. It was brutal. And then we would go to these competitions, and they'd be, in Savannah and Orlando, all over the place. And the worst part about these damn things is there's four events. There's the floor, the beam, the bars, and the vault, right? And the longest event is like a minute in length.
Mm-hmm.
Like 1 minute in length, right? She does bars and it's like 20 seconds.
Right.
The vault is like 5 seconds. So we're going to these stupid things, and we're sitting fucking 6 hours to watch our daughter for like probably less than 2 minutes of actual time.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Then you had to buy the special, what do they call those?
The
leotard. Yeah.
They're like $400. What are you talking about? Get out of here. I'll go buy her a bathing suit. It's the same damn thing.
Yeah, you make me feel good, Judge. I was so glad when she said she wanted to do volleyball. I'm like, okay, great. Come on, let's get out of here.
Oh, your daughter does volleyball?
Well, she tried out volleyball. This is 6th grade, so middle school. She tried volleyball. Now she's doing soccer. So I think she's trying to figure out which one. But I think she likes soccer, so I'm like, I can work with that.
Well, that's what happened with our daughter. So she went through puberty kind of early, probably at like 11 years old, and she got bigger, right? She got boobs, all that stuff, and so when she did gymnastics from like 3 years old, she started at like 3 years old, and then all of a sudden, it's all this body weight stuff. So you gain a little bit of weight. She's not fat by any means, but she looks like a woman now.
Mm-hmm.
And so then it makes the movements a lot more difficult, right? And then she got a couple minor injuries, and then a friend talked her into going and trying volleyball out, and she fell in love with it.
Mm-hmm.
But it took her a good 6 to 8 months of being on the fence about gymnastics. She would go to practice, she'd sit out here and there because something hurt, and it was just kind of this constant struggle. But eventually we kept saying, hey, look, you need to, let's try something else. And then she finally tried volleyball, and now she's knee deep in that. Knee deep in it. She's very good. She's not super tall, but she can jump really high. She's playing on a very, very good club team. We just went to New Orleans for a tournament a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it's like it's like serious. Have you been to any of those?
No, I have not.
No? Yeah. Oh my God. There's one we're going to at the end of April, beginning of May. It's in Orlando at the Orlando Convention Center. And this is like one of the biggest ones in the country, this event. There will be close to 200 courts. 200 courts, okay? And it runs from 7 a.m. until 8 or 9 at night. Wow. So there'll be like multiple shifts. So you're talking about thousands of teams. It's wild. It's absolutely.
What age group is this?
She is 13, but she plays on the 14s team. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this age group that she just joined into, it really was a jump up. This is her third year, I guess, playing. And the teams that she played in compared to this year, this team is just light years. She was the best one on the previous two teams. Even the first year she played, I think gymnastics helped out a lot with the coordination and all that. But she was the best player. First year she played. Second year, she was on a similar team, but she was the best player. Now this year, she's not the best player, but she's playing in an age group higher. It's better to play up to competition than you'd rather not be the best one. But those games are exciting. It's exciting. It's like fun to watch. Screw this damn 2 minutes of gymnastics for 5-6 hours.
I never got, from day one, I wasn't interested. I was like, well, she likes it, but it just, energy in the place was there. Even the other parents, it just wasn't. I like team sports. Like team sports, you kind of told, hey, what's your kid? They did it. It's just a different energy with team sports.
Did you grow up playing sports?
I did not. I was a nerd, and I was a serious nerd, and my dad was a D1 player. So I was one of those kids. I was like, I started playing when I was, little, like 2 and 3, and I'm shooting, and they were like, "Oh, you're gonna be like your dad." Then I realized, I'm not gonna be like my dad because I played on some squads, and I was like, "Yeah, this is not gonna happen." So then I kind of said, "You know what? My future is not in this." So I hit the books, which worked well for my legal career. But I played sports just because, in high school you just kind of go out for the team, but I was never like, a top player. But I played baseball in high school. I played baseball and then football. But I took enough hits early enough to say, this is not my future. I don't know how these guys got here and just do that to their body. And I was a year, my birthday's in August, so I was always younger than everyone else. And then my second year, second grade, I got skipped. So I was younger and naturally by calendar year, and I'm also a year ahead. So physically, I didn't grow as fast. So I was actually 16 at my high school graduation. And in New York, we graduated in June. So like when I started college, I was just turning 17. So my body wasn't develop
Okay.
like the other guys. So yeah, sports was not in the cards for me.
Yeah.
Now later I grew bigger. Now I'm like 6'2", like 300 pounds. So I was like, where was this in high school? Like when I could have used it. But yeah, it didn't do anything for me then.
So what were you doing that was nerdy?
Oh, well, I went to private schools pretty much the whole way. So I was just always, try to be top of the class, this, that, and the other. Then I went to a friend's school, Friends Academy. Then that's when I really said, okay, these are like the serious students. So I was good, but there were guys that, and ladies that were like, okay, this is going to be tough. So, you really had to crank it out there. So my class was about 80 kids. I think about 82 people in my class. And I want to say probably 30 of them went to Ivy Leagues, and the rest of us were like, I went to Carnegie Mellon, the MIT. So, I mean, that was very competitive. So
Yeah,
I had to put everything into my books in high school to get out of there.
I bet. Yeah, our daughter has been in private school. She started out at a Montessori school at like 2 years old, and then she went through there until she was 8, and then we moved to California. She got put in a different private school here, and that school was super heavy on reading, on reading novels. Their curriculum, and this is for I guess, so she went through 7th grade with them. They didn't really have grades. Everyone works at their own pace. So they didn't have grades, and they didn't have grading either. So like if someone took a test and they got an 80% on it, they would get corrected on the 20% that they missed. So essentially they were getting 100, I guess you could say. Anyway, super heavy on reading. They would read 75 books a year.
Ooh.
Yeah. 75 books a year for a kid. I think it was like 3 hours a day of the day was spent reading. And God, she hated it. She's very into it was the worst. She just hated it so much. She's very much into science. She wants to be a neurosurgeon.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she's like all hands on. She started watching YouTube videos at like 5 years old of surgeries. And she would be sitting there on the tablet watching like open heart surgery. And my wife's like, oh my God, I'm gonna throw up. But yeah, she likes all the hands-on stuff. And last year she begged us to not go to that school. She begged to go to a public school, like a regular school. So we sent her. We finally agreed. I wasn't real excited about it, and she went there. It was good for the first couple months, and then there's the cliques in school and all that shit. And one of the girls just started talking shit on her. It's just spreading around school and just all this stuff. And it just turned into a real bad situation. She kept trying to handle it, talk to the girl. The girl wouldn't even talk to her, but then she would go and say all kinds of, it was awful. And finally we pulled her out. She's doing homeschooling right now. Yeah, she's doing homeschooling. It's pretty cool program. It's online. She's doing that, and then she's doing volleyball training in the evenings, but then doing like other like jump classes and stuff like that, weight training during the day. Yeah. School right now,
like home IMG Academy going on over there. That's nice.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I love it. We don't have to deal with the drama. She gets her schoolwork done in like 3 hours. She's taking advanced classes. It's been great. And then, I was like, hey, you should just keep doing this next year. And she's like, I don't know. I want to be in a regular school. So we'll see. See. Yeah. So, how many kids do you have?
I have 2 natural born kids. I have 2 stepchildren from my last marriage, and then there's 3 stepchildren from the oldest one. So the first wife that passed, she had 3 sons. Now they're like all 30 something. And then so they didn't live with me because we were married. They would live with their father. They would come like on the weekends, but then when she passed, they went to live with him. and the one who's autistic, he stayed in a group home in North Carolina, so he was always needed full-time attention, heavily autistic. Then the second marriage, she had 2 kids who were about 8 and 10 when I came into their life. So they lived with me. And then I had my daughter with her. So my son from my first marriage, daughter from them, then the 2 of them. So it's like the 4 like kids that I usually, would say I have 4 kids that I raised,
Yeah.
So their oldest one, I think, is 25, soon to be 26 and 24. And now 18. My son just turned 18, and then 12-year-olds will be 13 in November.
Wow.
So it's a big spread. Yeah.
Yeah. You have any more?
Oh, no. I'll be 54 in August, so I'm good now.
You're good.
I think we're gonna have to enter grandpa mode. There's none. The factory is closed, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, my factory got closed several years ago. I was like, that's enough. She was enough, man.
So you have one?
Just one. Yeah, we were living in California, and the Montessori school, it was like 25 G's a year. And that was just like normal pricing for private schools. And we're talking about when she was young too. It wasn't even like a high school or anything. And yeah, and the taxes out there, it was just, we were making okay money. We were doing all right. But oh my goodness, just couldn't do it.
Well, that's why I left New York, because I was born and raised. And I was just like, this is not gonna work. I didn't have children at that time. So when I came here in 2004, I had no kids, was never married. So since that time, it's been a whirlwind, but it's been great. But yeah, definitely had to leave New York. Couldn't do anything I'm doing now in New York prices.
No, where in New York were you?
Long Island. So is pricey. I grew up in this town called Roosevelt. So Roosevelt is where we have Eddie Murphy, Dr. J, who's the other one? Public Enemy, which is my favorite rap group. And then Howard Stern, actually.
Howard Stern, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so I was like, you would never think, what's like not to like, but yeah, Howard Stern is definitely in there too. So this little small town has all these people from there. So
Howard Stern always talked about how rough it was up there. Was it kind of a rough neighborhood?
It was, New York has its relative, right? So there's everything is relative. So if I would say compare it to Brooklyn or the Bronx, I'm like, no, it's not rough.
Yeah.
Now it had its own, New York is, I don't care where you are, all New Yorkers pretty much pass through the city. So you all have that at the edge, right? So there's a lot going on. I grew up in the 80s. So that was like, hip hop was starting there and everything. So it was just an incredible energy. He was probably there in Roosevelt. I moved there when I was a kid. So I was the 70s. I'm thinking that's probably when he was kind of growing up and leaving. So there was like a transition period from, where blacks were coming in and white. So I think there was like tension racially and other things. So I think, that was more what he was talking about more than just general like things going on. Because this is Long Island. If you ask people who are the city, the 5 boroughs, they're like, oh, Long Island, that's the suburbs. They're like the softies out there, So I think it's not really hardcore. We had to fight for our respect because people just, you're not even really part of New York. You're not even a borough.
Do you still have family up there?
No. My when I moved here, was my dad had actually moved. My parents got divorced. I was about 27. So my dad got remarried and moved down here about 2002. And when I came to visit him and my stepmom, I looked around. I said, "Oh yeah, the housing is cheap. The weather's beautiful. I'm out." So I was down like the next year. My mom stayed there for a while up in New York. And then she moved to North Carolina because she said, I don't like Georgia. So she was like, this is close enough. You could kind of see me in North Carolina. Eventually, she did move to Georgia. But yeah, I was an only child growing up that I knew of. But later I found out I had a sister, but that's a whole nother story. But I basically, my family came down and I came down with them.
Got it. So for your practice, where do you basically get your business from? What's that kind of look like?
Ooh, yeah, that's a great question because I'm still trying to kind of get the mix that's right. So I would say the estate planning is really a lot of either people coming from referrals, financial advisors, word of mouth from people who've already worked with me, and then they'll send somebody. Then social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Now
Are
the
you
elder,
are
go
you
ahead.
are you running ads on those?
No, not on
Okay.
Facebook. I've tried Facebook. I didn't like Facebook for ads. I just didn't find it working for me. LinkedIn, I haven't tried anything. I just kind of post, little post on there about things that I'm doing. I try to do some of the lives. I did a couple. I like the live. You're not doing the visual. You're just talking and kind of bringing people into the meeting. The problem is just 30 people would sign up. Then when we get to the live, it's like 3. So it's just
Yeah.
I didn't find it very productive. Then the elder law side, that's where I really put my ads out, because the Google business profile, people just searching estate planning lawyer for me or wills and trust. I find that's kind of steady, that I can just rely on people searching and finding me. I think I have to kind of send some ads out for, hey, long-term care, special needs. I kind of feel I have to put the ads out to find that side. So that's really where I put my dollars, is on the elder law side. And then I kind of let the estate planning be more organic. I still run a few ads. So even if I have a Medicaid ad, it might just say, trust will, just to trigger someone who just like a regular estate planning client to come over. But that advertising is really geared towards the elder law side.
Yeah.
And that's Google. That's
Um,
all Google for me.
what's that? That's all
I
Google, you
said
said?
that's all pretty much Google for me. I don't have any Facebook. It's all Google ads that I'm running.
Yeah. Yeah, we're really trying to boost up our Medicaid. Yeah, we're really trying to boost that up. The only thing I found successful is Google Ads. But we're still not dialed in because we get a lot of calls from people who need Medicaid insurance for like prescriptions and stuff like that. Do you get that?
I don't, but my ads, I have my ads go to a landing page. So the ad is more, well, originally when I was doing it, I was making an ad here or there. Then I got a consultation with a Google business consultant, and then we made pretty much an AI performance max ad. So you give them like 20 pictures, 15 headlines, 15 descriptions, and tell them the segment that you're looking for, and then it will do an analysis of, do like a bid learning strategy of what's the best way to put these ads together, and then it'll search that individual's, I guess, browser history and search history to know how to pull the right ads and pictures and formulate an ad just for them. So I find it very cost efficient and get a lot of clicks that way. But I think it helps kind of narrow down by my descriptions of, irrevocable trust for Medicaid, crisis planning, special needs planning. So I think that kind of helps filter out, because the ad itself is reading someone and presenting it to them and kind of directing them a certain way. So I think it helps with that AI kind of component going on in there.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't even know about that.
I didn't know about it either until he told me, and I was looking at him like, "What are you talking about?" So he said, "Yeah, we
Yeah.
can do this AI thing." So it was. He set it up with me. It was probably about 3 hours, and I thought it was going to be a cost to it, but it was actually free, because he just kind of reached out and he said, "Well, let's put it together." And then once he put it together, he said, they say don't touch it for like 14 days. I don't have that kind of patience, so I started tweaking with it after about 5. But then, once I understood what it was doing, then I kind of wanted different descriptions and things. So usually I'll change it maybe every couple of months and kind of update the descriptions, kind of be more narrow. And I think my initial mistake, I was putting the audience not in terms of the demographics of the people. The actual location, I think I had of too wide of an area. So I might have said originally, give me Atlanta, right? So I'm in Atlanta, but I'm really out here in the suburb. So if, I don't know if you know about Atlanta traffic, because you're closer to Florida, you know about Atlanta traffic, right? So if you tell someone you're 25 miles away, they're like, I'm not doing it. So they might have liked my ad, but they're just not going to engage. So now I've narrowed it down pretty much to my city, which is Duluth, which is about 280,000 if you look at the numbers that it says it's reaching. And then I say Gwinnett County. So Gwinnett County is the fastest growing county in Atlanta. So in the state. So that's really my two locations. And that's been much better because if someone sees the ad and clicks on it, okay, now they're 10 miles away and now they're engaging me. So that was kind of the lesson I learned was, not only the ad and the dynamics of how it pulled together the ad, I have to show it to someone who's, I don't want to educate them and get them to say, yeah, I need to meet with a lawyer about this, but, not this lawyer because he's too far. And then they go call someone else, so I had to kind of figure that out.
Yeah. Yeah, we market to the entire state of Florida for our Medicaid. We certainly have no shortage of calls coming in, but probably about half of them are qualified. Do you guys, does Georgia do you do Medicaid applications for people?
I do in my practice, and I've kind of recently changed my schedule because I had more of a bundle approach. So it was like, okay, if I'm doing Medicaid applications, it was always going to be part of like, say, a crisis plan. So it would be, hey, I'm going to charge you, between probably 10 and 20. So say it was 15. And in that 15, I would do the Medicaid application as part of that. And now I've kind of broken it out so that I have a kind of a la carte menu. So I'll help someone with actually my Medicaid application assistance is actually showing on two lines. So there's non-crisis assistance and crisis assistance. Because sometimes people, they might come to me, say they have, because people don't know the rules. So they might call and say, I'm worried about Medicaid taking my money. And then you meet with them and they have like, say $125,000. Okay, well, you're covered by the community source resource allowance. You don't really have to worry. And they'll still say, well, can you help me with the application, right? So normally I would I don't really need to get involved because I'm not going to get this big crisis planning engagement. But then I started to say, but they still need help. So that's when I kind of now do the assistance especially if it's pretty straightforward, I'll price it at a price point that I feel comfortable with. That if they don't have the issues from my conversation that I don't, that I anticipate, I'll just do that service there. And then if they have a crisis planning, that Medicaid assistance will be twice as much for that crisis planning assistance. And then I'll also charge them for the strategic moves and things to do the actual spend down and everything. So when you slap that together, that'll wind up being close to like the 15-20 that I would have originally done in a package. So that's kind of how I have my pricing schedule right now.
Yeah. So you're between 10 and 20 grand for your package, or 15 and 20?
Well, it depends. I say this is where I recently I said 1 to 2 months. So, and I based it originally on our divisor, right? So the divisor was right now a little over 10. So I said between 10 and 20 for the range, because when they're looking at it, just psychologically, I didn't want to present 15 as a low number. I presented 10 as a low number, but most of the time when I'm quoting them, it's usually closer to the 15, right? Yeah. But in the range that they saw in the price schedule was going to be 10 to 20. And then also because, sometimes, like I said, my example before, they were not even in need because they were covered by the community spouse resource allowance. Sometimes they are in the spend down, but it's such an easy spend down that I'm like, okay, I know how I'm already going to be able to spend this down without doing anything, complicated. So then that might be closer to the 10 if I really say, this is going to be fairly straightforward. I have one right now that's like a, annuity and gifting strategy. So that's closer to the 20. So you got to kind of move in that range based on what I think I need to do.
Yeah. Is that your biggest revenue stream for your practice?
No, that my practice is still estate planning, revocable trust is still my, if I would say probably 40%, 40 to 50. Then I would say Medicaid as protection trust, probably another 25 to 30. And then the balance would be the crisis planning. I want, my goal though is to get those ads moving and people to come and really have elder law be about 70%.
Yeah.
Because there's always going to be,
what I want.
70, there's always going to be the need for the basic plan, not basic because I don't do simple wills, but revocable trust. But like I just had someone earlier today that were coming for special needs. So that actually I have to factor special needs in there, because there's I would say probably special needs actually want to be 20%. So maybe when I say elder law, that's 70%, maybe 50% Medicaid, and then 20% special needs. So they came in and they were doing what they would typically do. They wanted to stand alone, special supplemental needs, and then they also did a revocable for themselves. So usually that's how I'm tying in estate planning in that percentage. I want to have estate planning in my mind not be someone who's just an estate planning only client. So when I'm doing estate planning, I really want it to be, okay, I'm doing special needs and then I'm doing the parenting planning as part of that, or I'm doing the crisis planning and I maybe need to redraft, the community spouses documents or something like that. So I want to have my estate planning still be, in a sense, elder law related in my ideal practice, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah, it's the same exact thing for us, right? Yeah, we want to do more of the crisis plan, all that in the Medicaid. I want that. It's higher for me from a business perspective. It's higher profits, and I think it's such a good service.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's just
it?
You feel like you're not only you helpful, right? You always feel if you have a good connection, but and I'm sure you understand because I know you're on some of the Facebook groups and things. Our profession is being encroached upon by other people, and I don't feel they will ever be able to encroach on those, Medicaid planning, special needs. I think they'll still say, I better bring someone in for this, right? So I think that's part of the reason why I'm trying to push into those areas and as well, because I think even the diehard do-it-yourselfers kind of like, still probably better not risk it with my kid being a special needs kid or my parents go to, like there's still like something inside their little Grinch heart that says, you know what, I better expand this heart a little bit in the wallet to get this right.
I'd say, yeah, it's funny. Yeah, you're right. Are you because you're talking about like AI and stuff like that? Is that what you're referring to?
No, I'm talking about like, well, either them doing AI or just going to, some software program that their financial advisor says, I could put a trust together for you, and then they're kind of like, I have a feeling that I need something more than this thing you're throwing in front of me.
Yeah. Well, I think AI is going to become a pretty big problem here in the relatively near future.
Oh,
yeah, I do. Because it's what it can do now is unreal, absolutely unreal, and then it's just gonna exponentially go up from there. So I think about like drafting trust and will plans, especially on the simpler end. I think AI is going to be able to handle that relatively soon.
Well, I don't know if they'll be able to handle it. Just like, to me, I look at it kind of like when someone has NOLO or whatever, I can't remember the other ones, but it looks good enough to the consumer, right? So it may not actually be right, but AI makes it look good enough for them to be satisfied. So then when you come along as a true expert who knows the difference, they don't necessarily want to pay for that, what you're telling them. It's kind of like, I'm looking at this document, looks good to me, right? As a consumer, it looks good to me, so I think I'll just stay right here. And that's really the problem, right? I don't know if it actually will be able to handle it, but it's close enough that it's a counterfeit and it makes someone feel comfortable to keep it moving, because they really probably didn't want to dedicate too much time and effort to it because it's not a comfortable space for them to discuss. And now you give them a tool that makes, an output that they're like, okay, this looks like it'll handle most things that I need. And I think that's really the scary part, is it doesn't maybe even have to be in reality a good, tool. Because I've seen people come in my office with not even a 6x5 page third party special needs trust. And when I look at it, it had a payback provision in it. So I'm just like, oh, this is just so bad that I can't, but the person who had it was like, oh, I already had that taken care of, right? So it looked good because they don't know, right?
It looks like a legal document.
It's all legal document, has a notary thing at the back, we're good, right? So that's the scary part.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think, God, man, I'm like 99% certain that in the next year or two, you are going to be able to use an AI program where you basically say, okay, here's my documents. Here's how I like them to be written. And in this situation, this is what I want the documents to say. In that situation, this is what I want.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be able to put it in there, and it'll pump it out in less than 2 seconds.
Oh,
and it'd be like, totally how you as an attorney, as you want it to be.
Right.
So I think that's where I'm kind of going with it. It's like, you as an attorney, right, and law firm owners are going to be able to use this tool to eliminate a lot of drafting time. Mm-hmm. Now you're still going to have to like get the right information from the client in order to tell AI what, how it should be. But essentially, I'm almost certain it's going to replace drafters here, mm-hmm. or it can replace drafters here in the very near future. Now you take a potential client who is doing it on their own, or they go on, some software online and they start plugging it in. Yeah, they're probably going to fuck it up, or it's not going to be like done totally right. But I'm pretty sure lawyers here in the very, very near future are going to have this thing, just totally operating for them like a regular paralegal would. Yeah.
Well, the danger, like there's the do-it-yourself crowd, right? So they'll always, but some people say, well, that's not really your crowd. I'm like, anyone who might hire you is really your crowd. So I don't dismiss them. But the danger to me is, and I'm sure you have experienced this from talking to people, our field, we know how great our field is. And other people who are practicing in other areas are starting to realize how great our field is, right? So now they're like, oh man, this litigation sucks. Oh, I can do estate planning and make some money. So they're starting to move in. But you can talk to a lot of them when they're first coming in and they're not, the intuition isn't there. There's some things they really haven't picked up yet. That's the crowd I'm worried about, because now, like you said, with AI, I can not have all the real tools, but now I can produce a much closer product to, what should really be, even though I still probably, may not be close to what Joe would do. I can get it, 80% of the way there very quickly and charge people and take away, share, business from other people who may have really known more experience and know what to do. But to the client, okay, they already have the relationship somehow, maybe some other way, and now they can produce a document that's very close. That's where I can see AI really hurting the field, because if you're really experienced, that experience is kind of it's kind of like when I was a tax, lawyer. It's like if the tax code changed drastically, all your old experience, you still have the historical stuff, but the new lawyers kind of it even out right away, because it's like, all right, everyone's studying some new law. And it's kind of that kind of thing. This new tool would just let new lawyers in there that, may have before kind of said, I'm gonna stick to wills for a while till I know a little bit more, then I'll do a little simpler trust till I know a little more. Now it's like, oh, I can just go do any kind of trust. It just, hey, like you said, give me this, that, and that, and then it produces it out, and they feel better. And now they start marketing themselves as, high class estate planning and elder law.
Right. Yeah. Do you do any probate?
I used to. I don't like probate because I'm that control freak with my calendar. So I used to do it, and then it just had. I'm in Atlanta, so I was doing Gwinnett County, which is where I'm located. DeKalb, I like DeKalb a lot. So DeKalb and Gwinnett probate, I like. Then there's also Fulton. Fulton is actually Atlanta. That is just the nightmare. So once you get some of those cases, and then they're dragging on, and I don't know if you do a probate, but it's like you're in the case, but they're doing the case. So then you're kind of hurting cats because you're kind of checking where you're at, what you're doing. And I just didn't find that enjoyable. So I have phased that out of my practice and just refer it out. So that's not only, some people I know just do, non contested probates. I don't want any part of it because I just don't want to herd cats. And I don't want, where you've been, you just drop off the face of the earth for 3 months, and then eventually you say, oh, I'm so sorry. I don't need that in my life. So I want to be able to have my cases that I can work on, work with the client, wrap it up, and be done.
Yeah. Yeah, we do probate. We started in maybe 2022. Yeah, we started in 2022, probably about this time, about April 2022. And it's about 70% of our practice
Oh, wow.
now. Okay. Yeah. We have like 350 active cases right at this moment.
And now you're all throughout Florida, or are you in certain counties?
Whole state. There's a couple counties that we won't touch just because they're freaking nightmares, the court system there. But yeah, generally speaking, the whole state. And yeah, we started out with Stephanie. She runs our sales department now, but she was our COO. We heavily recruited her to join our team because we knew she knew estate planning, she knew probate, trust administration, she knew all of that. So we really needed a COO, and we heavily recruited her. It took a few months, but she finally joined. Paid her a lot more money than I was comfortable paying at the time. It's like she gave me heartburn. But I knew how valuable she was, right? I really knew, and I saw her work ethic because she was helping us out on the side. She was helping us on nights and weekends, and really. And anyway, so she got us started into probate, and then we got some cases. We ran Google ads for that, still do. And then we'd have to hire. We ended up having to hire a legal assistant for her. And then, since we're hiring more staff, we needed to make more money. So then I need to spend more money on marketing. And then I need to get more intake people to handle the phones. And then we need to do more consults. And then we start closing more sales. So then I need to hire more people in production. Okay, now that I hire more people, now I have to make more money. So now it's more money on marketing. It's just been this revolving door. So now we have 1, 2, I think 3 full-time probate paralegals. Each of them have their own legal assistant, and we're trying to find a fourth one. I mean, a fourth experienced probate paralegal. It's difficult finding ones that are experienced. But yeah, we pay them well. We give them a lot of bonuses, and they're worth their weight in gold because all that shit you're saying about them ghosting us, right? And just, they just drop off the face of the earth, and we need this and that. And so we have to have the staff that are consistently following up. And yeah, the organizational, the amount of organization you need to have in probate is just ridiculous to keep up with the timelines and make sure things don't fall through the cracks. And yeah, it's we finally have it down to a T, but it is, and we have an internal policy where if a client contacts us, whether it's a phone call or an email, they have to respond within 24 hours. right? So there's that internal policy. It can't ever go longer than 24 hours. So now they're dealing with all the probate stuff, and then they have to also make sure that they're staying up on their calls and getting back to clients. Yeah, it's been a 3-year process, but I feel like we have it pretty dialed in, and I think it's just going to keep growing. I envision, God, having probably 15, 20 paralegals just dedicated to probate.
You're better than me. I can't do it, sir. I applaud
It's
you.
a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I think our plan is we have a probate administrator now. She started out as our receptionist, and she was fresh out of college. I remember I was interviewing for a receptionist, and she had no reception, no office experience, fresh out of college. Interviewed a bunch of people, and I just wasn't. And with reception, they need to be able to communicate well, right? And everyone I talked to kind of just they just kind of sucked at community. They were dry and just like kind of mopey, like, hello, right? And I'm like, you're not going to be the face of my damn law firm.
Right.
And we use Indeed a lot. And I had marked this girl as a no, because you can mark it as like interested, unsure, or a no. I had marked her as a no. And got through all the interviews, didn't like any of them. And I usually never go back and look over the people I put in the no category. For some reason, I did. And I just looked at her name and clicked on it, looked at it again. I was like, I saw that she played sports. And, she was a Div 1 college soccer player. So I was like, maybe it'd be good for her. Maybe she's a team player, right? She called her up, and it was the best communication. Like light years, it was like talking to a friend, light years ahead of everyone else I talked to. Super relaxed on the phone, interested, asking me questions, just like really engaging. Said, "You're hired. Like, start tomorrow. Come on in." Fast forward, she then ended up getting promoted out of reception, and she learned probate because we needed help in the probate department. She became a probate paralegal. And now she is running our whole probate department. She's the administrator over it. She doesn't have any of her own cases. She's just managing the other paralegals, the legal assistants. And with an operation like this, you have to have like a point person, overseeing all of it. Because if you don't, it's like herding cats, but of your own staff. But our plan is to build up departments within our probate department. So we have a paralegal who then has their own legal assistant. We want them, the paralegal, to train the legal assistant to be able to manage their own, to be a paralegal themselves. And then they oversee, and then they kind of form a team underneath of them. That's our vision. But it's exciting. We're in too deep to not keep going. I feel like.
Well, yeah, 350. Now you got to look at 1,000, right? You're like, all right, we can get to 1,000.
Yeah. It's
well, with all the do-it-yourselfers doing their stuff, there'll definitely be no shortage of cases, and then whatever else is people passing away. And
well, that was one of the reasons we got it. That was one of the reasons we got into probate, is because one, I was a little bit scared of the do-it-yourselfers, and then two, you have AI, right? And then I also got a little bit fearful of another pandemic or shutdown, right? And I was thinking, okay, if the world shuts down, if the economy crashes, are people going to pay for estate plans? We were doing a lot of business law at the time. Are they going to play? If business go out of business, they're not going to be hiring attorneys. And our estate plans, we charge on the higher end, in our area. So I was like, okay, but people are always going to die. And in Florida, right, for a formal probate, which is assets 75,000 or higher, they're required to use an attorney. So I was like, okay, well, this is kind of job security, and you can charge a percentage of the estate too. So some of these, one of the very first probates we did, we were able to charge like 75 grand, and it was like, this is where it's at.
Right.
From me, from a business perspective. And he was like the best client in the world, super easy, right? Got us documents on time. It was like, he was a dream. And it was literally like, I think it was like our 5th probate that we did. I was like, oh, this is what it's going to always be like. And that's not the case.
Yeah, I think the only growth area that I'm looking at with court work is since I'm an elder law, so many people come through with potential guardianship conservatorships. So that might be the only way I might be in probate court is on lifetime is guardian conservatorship estates. I just find myself with probate. To me, it's like, I think because of the way I'm built, I like to do things now, like when the client's around, even if they're incapacitated. I just kind of like that energy of doing things now. I think that I just don't like the nature of probate because someone's passed. Like, it just didn't work for me.
I hear you.
I think I need to do something, just objectively, because, like you said, don't know when drafting work or AI comes in and changes things. And as an attorney, we always have the ability to exclusively go into court and handle that. So, I've been kind of talking to myself in the mirror lately. It's like, hey, you're gonna probably have to get out of, drop a little control and get your schedule a little messy. But I think that's the next step, and that fits with my elder law piece, because it's just it's a big process for elderly, or just the special needs child that's aging out and getting to 18 or something, so it's there. I just have to talk myself into it. So I think that's the next step for me to get the firm to that place.
Yeah. What are your long-term goals with your firm?
That's, some people, I think, want to scale out and kind of step away and let other people run and delegate. I haven't wanted to do that yet. I like the involvement, and I enjoy just the day-to-day things. So in my head, I want to work till I'm like 75. Like, I just don't have any desire to, like, I'm gonna max this out and then chill. Like, for me, I want to be there. Now, I don't want to be working when I'm 85. So let's get clear, right? So I have a certain stopping point, but it's not any time. So another 20 years. So, I just want to kind of I'm a certified elder law attorney. So there's right now 13 in the state. I want to help grow the credential. I'm doing a lot of stuff with NELF now, and kind of planning committee on the conference and kind of get involved in that organization. So I'm trying to work on the brand and kind of be like that ambassador. And so that kind of really is where I see myself, just kind of pushing elder law field. So that's also where I probably need to do the guardianship conservatorship, just so I have the most well-rounded experience and everything in touch as much. I don't see myself doing elder abuse kind of litigation, but I'll take on more varied cases that probably get me out of the office a little bit more, and maybe do some speaking and this and that. So I really kind of want to be like, hey, that's one of the best certified elder lawyers in the state of Georgia, if not the country. That's my goal. So I just always want to keep my hand in learning and growing and kind of doing different things.
Yeah, I love it. Are you happy where your practice is at right now?
I am not happy, just because if my leads were more consistent, I would be happy. So right now I kind of have that feeling like, I got my Google ads where I want them, then there's a flow, and all of a sudden things change, and I'm like, all right, let me go. I don't know if they changed some algorithm or something like that. So I wish I had a practice that was more just steady referrals. I'm working on growing my attorney referrals, because I have more financial advisor oriented referrals. So I think that's the area where I just kind of have to build it up, and then also just networking with other CELAs and other elder law attorneys. So I've been building up North Carolina as well. I'm going to end of the month. There's a North Carolina unprogram where they do there twice a year. Their NALA chapter does a unprogram twice a year. So I'm going to that. I go every year to that. And I learn different things that people are doing. So my goal is to be really not never removed from the ads, because you always want to have the ability to pull in people off the street. But I want that percentage to be maybe 40% of who comes in the door and 60% is just organic. Hey, some attorney referral or financial advisor referral, client send me somebody. That's when I'll feel comfortable with my practice, when I don't have to kind of have the whims of digital marketing affect my flow. So I'm not there yet.
Yeah. Do you, how many leads are you getting, like on a weekly or monthly basis? From your paid
Google,
advertising?
My clicks are about 400 to 500 a day on my ads. My calls and appointments probably somewhere only about 10 to 15 appointments. So in there, that's where I wanted to bump up. So my ideal, I would say, over the course of a month, would probably have about 50 to 60 appointments that are set up. And those 50 to 60 a month. Those 50 to 60, and my appointments are an hour slot, but they don't always last an hour. But I would like to have basically a full calendar of special needs and Medicaid, and then more of a sprinkling of estate planning. So now I get a lot of more like estate planning in those appointments that I'm getting. So I think that's also the piece. So I'm getting appointments, but I'm not getting the appointments that I desire the most. So I want that composition to change over, where even if it was less appointments, if I was getting 20 appointments a month, but they're all Medicaid and estate planning, I would feel much better, because I really just want to have more of those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man, we really got to get the Google ad things sorted out for our Medicaid. What are you spending on a month for your Google ads?
I don't spend much. I'm maybe at like 3,000 a month, 100 a day right now.
Okay.
So I'm not. My budget is definitely not soaring at this point. But I'm thinking that's probably what I'm going to do, is probably pump that up. So I've been kind of like this point, because part of it was I did the AI ad probably, it's been about a year. So I kind of first was kind of skeptical. I was like, I never heard of this thing. I'm like, what is this thing doing? It's kind of like, what's behind, like the Wizard of Oz, like, what's behind the curtain over there? I don't know what this thing is doing. So I was kind of, is this thing just guzzling my money? And so I'm kind of treaded lightly with it. So now I've been approaching a year with it, and I'm kind of more comfortable of, like I said, I've been tweaking it. And I kind of feel like, okay, if I put these descriptions in, I'll kind of get more response. So I think now this year I'll kind of ramp it up. But I definitely was kind of like, I don't know if I want to put my money into this new thing until I feel comfortable with it. And so now I'm kind of figured out, I have multiple ads now. I have one ad that's a Georgia ad, one ad that's in North Carolina, and one's Georgia Medicaid, one's North Carolina Medicaid. Then I have a Georgia like estate planning one. So my budget is really mostly on the Georgia Medicaid, then the Georgia estate planning, then a little bit of North Carolina, just to kind of feel it out. I'm more Charlotte, because I'm originally was looking at the whole state, and I had contacts in Raleigh, but Raleigh's 6 hours away. So Charlotte's about 3 hours away. So I've been getting more response with Charlotte. So I kind of tweaked those. So I'm just kind of like in that tweak phase. I think that's why I didn't really throw money at it yet, because I knew I didn't really kind of know my market yet. So kind of like, let me figure out what's the right way to put parameters on this thing. And kind of, once I saw the ads coming, the calls coming in, I'm like, okay, I think I have a sense now of how I have to pitch this to kind of get a good response. Because I think I cast my net a little too wide in the beginning.
Yeah, I get it.
Burn money.
Oh man, I burned money at the very beginning. When we first started, I ran Google ads myself. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I burned so much money. It was terrible.
Oh, and I'm doing SEO. I just started the SEO. So I just, because finally I was like, okay, I'm running all these ads. I said I should, while I'm doing that, take the time to get my SEO right, my website right, and all that, and my conversion tracking and all this. So I just started that last month. So I have an SEO that I'm picking up too. So.
And you're doing this yourself?
No.
The Google ads and the SEO? No.
Well, the Google ads is AI, right? So I'm doing that where I'm just doing the headlines and everything. So no one is actually doing the AI ad because the computer learns, so to speak, and figures that out. But I picked the headlines myself and pictures because I knew I wanted it to be my touch. And because a lot of times when people do things, they make it to me more estate planning oriented than I want it to be. So I kind of make sure it's narrower in the elder law. Now the SEO, I don't understand anything about any of that stuff, so I have someone doing that for me.
That's good. That's good. That's smart. Yeah. I think a lot of the success. What's
Sorry.
that?
That's what about you? Are you doing your own stuff with the SEO and things?
No, the same guy who's running our Google ads, he does SEO for us as well. I'm actually interviewing right now for a marketing director position, marketing specialist, marketing director. We've gotten over 200 applicants over the last week and a half for this job. Oh my God. I've been doing like 3 to 4 interviews a day. It's brutal. It's brutal. The thing is that I need somebody who knows more than I do. I know a decent amount. I can't handle it, right? I can't handle the work myself. I don't have the capacity to be able to do it. And I think that's been one of my most successful actions running this law firm has been finding people who are just as competent, if not more competent than I am in various positions, or training them so that they are more competent than I am, and putting them in their position and letting them run with it. So yeah, that's been probably one of our most successful actions. But yeah, I'm looking for a marketing person, and yeah, man, it entails a lot because we have the law firm, which is growing and which is doing, it's generating a lot of revenue and it's growing, and we don't want it to stop growing. We have all these marketing things that we do, from social media to email and the Google ads and, the website and all these things, SEO, but it's all been slapped together throughout the years. It's pretty much been me figuring it out and then telling someone else how to do it who's not a marketing person. Right. Like one of our assistants, we've had 2 assistants both the times handle our email marketing. It's like, I tell them do X, Y, and Z, they do it, but there's no real create on it. There's no like measuring metrics and saying, hey, this is a new trend, and because I'm not keeping up with it. So we really want to take our marketing to the next level. Yes, it's been good. It brings in a lot of leads, but it can always be better. And then we also have the Non-Stuffy attorney brand, which is, we're trying to, boost that up, and get that brand going and get and generate revenue from there. So we have a whole marketing plan on that line as well. So I need someone who can handle both. The ideal scene, right, that we have envisioned is essentially, a full marketing team. So I think this first hire needs to be really, really good, because the plan is to have them be the manager and then have other marketing professionals underneath of them handling the various, channels of marketing. But yeah, we really got to, one of the worst things about this interview process is I've interviewed probably 4 or 5 people who I think are pretty good. What's going to end up happening is I'm going to hire one of them, and I'm going to have to tell the others that they weren't hired. Then if that person that I hired doesn't work out, what the fuck do I do? right? Do I go back to the previous person and say, hey, actually, yeah, let's do it. It's so awkward and it sucks. What we've noticed at our firm is that about 1 in 3 new hires work out. About one in 3 work out. Yeah. So we just had a pretty big hiring. We hired, I think, 7 new people over the last 2 or 3 weeks, and they were a mixture of intake people, and the rest were legal assistants. And it was funny. For our first hire for a legal assistant, I interviewed a bunch of people. I found 2 that I really liked. We gave them offers. They accepted the offers. And this is an entry-level position, right? A legal assistant. 2, they both accepted. And now when I offered the job to the second person, I offered it to them in the morning of some day. I offered it to them in the morning. They accepted. But I already had scheduled an interview for later on in the day for the same position. Now we already just hired 2 people. At the time we're only looking for one spot. Okay. Hired 2 people already for it. Then we interview the third guy in like 4:00 that night. And I was like, this guy's amazing, right? He's fresh out of high school, fresh out of college, great communicator, right? I was like, he's perfect. So we offered him the position. Okay. So now we got 3 people to fill 1 role. 2 of them, one of them lasted a day or 2 days. Yeah, lasted 2 days. And then maybe it was 3. Yeah, she started on a Wednesday. Monday morning, she sent us an email saying, this job isn't for me. The other one needed 2 weeks before starting. And a couple days before she was supposed to start, she writes in and says, hey, I'm not going to be taking this job anymore.
Wow.
So I'm like, so literally hired 3 people for this 1 role, ended up with 1, and he's an all-star. He's absolutely, everyone loves him. So we couldn't be happier. But so that's where it scares me with this market, right? And we're going to pay this person a lot of money. And if they turn out to suck, I got to fire them, or they don't like it here for some reason. Yeah, where do I go? It's a business problem I haven't, because normally what I would say, especially for the legal position, hey, you need 1 person. Okay, let's hire 3. If we end up with 2 that are really good, great. We'll figure out work for them to do. But for a marketing position, for marketing director position, I can't hire 2 marketing directors. Right. You know, I might say, oh yeah, you guys are both directors. No. So that's the big problem I got going on in my life right now, Keith.
Well, I wish I had some advice for you, but I don't. So I just wish for the best for
you. Yeah, I wish I had advice for myself. Yeah, but it's exciting. It's exciting. We're growing, and
yes, sounds incredible. Yeah. I like the structure. I mean, you even I'm hearing law firm, but you're a business, right? So you have a real business that happens to be a law firm, right? And so I think you're different from a lot of lawyers who are really trying to get to that point of how do I get this to be a business and not just a law practice. So I applaud you for how you set that up.
Yeah, thank you. It's with Ashley and I. She's the managing attorney. She's my wife. She knows a little bit about business administration, not a lot. She's an attorney, right? She knows the law and she knows what to do there. She didn't know how to sell when we first started. I really helped her out with that. But most attorneys are in the same position that she's in, or she was in. And we were kind of the perfect dichotomy in that I knew that aspect of the business and she knew the production aspect of the business, right? And over the last year and a half, I have met with probably 40, 50 attorneys, just personally over Zoom, kind of shared what we're doing that's been successful. And I've discovered that a lot of the things that I consider basic business, like fundamentals in running a business, it's omitted from them. They don't have it. They haven't been trained in it. It doesn't mean that they're like stupid or anything like that, obviously, but they just, for whatever reason, they haven't been trained in those business fundamentals, that if you don't have them, you don't really have a business.
Right.
Right. And yeah, I'm excited. I've helped out a lot of them. I've given a lot of like what I can, like I said, what I consider basic information has really helped. I'll get emails from these guys like, "Hey, I implemented that. It's so successful. Thank you very much." Blah blah. And it's honestly, it's kind of a selfish thing on my part because it makes me feel so good, right? When I get when I get validation like that or communication. But yeah, we want to. There's a lot of like business coaching, a lot of like law firm coaching out there, and this and that. I've thought about getting into it. People have told me I should. I don't think I really want to. What I'm really looking to do is probably create online courses on the different aspects of business, have it like be on demand, not very expensive to join, right? 50 bucks a month, $100 a month, something like that. And just all these different aspects of running your law firm as a business. I haven't filmed any of them yet, but it's all up here, and yeah, it's exciting because I think, yeah, we want to help as many people as we can out. Yeah, it's been great. And it's only going to be better. It's only going to get better.
Yeah, no, definitely share that. I'm just talking about what you were saying with this dilemma with the marketing director and how do you go through that. A lot of us don't want to have to. Well, no one, I don't think, likes to hire and payroll and all that. So like that process of how do you, find people to even interview? How do you do the interview? How do you select? So those, whatever experience you have in the future, you'll be able to put that down in a way that most people benefit from because they're starting from scratch. They just have no idea how to even approach that. So I think that'd be great, especially if it's on demand, because we tend to do things when we can fit it in. So if you can have it flexible, that'd be great.
Yeah. I'm working on the business plan of it right now. And that's one of the reasons I need a marketing director, is to help me implement these things. So we're talking about creating courses and all these on demand, and then I'm doing the podcast and editing the podcast and creating shorts to be posted on social, and then we got the law firm that's running and doing all this stuff. Yeah, it's like so I need help. To get it all implemented. I got lots of big ideas. But and the other thing with the Non-Stuffy attorney brand that we want to do is we really want to change the landscape of we want to change the public's perception of attorneys. So the way we came up with the Non-Stuffy attorney brand is I read thousands of Google reviews to see what people liked and disliked about attorneys. Mm-hmm. And one of the points, there was 3 points that came up, but one of the points that kept repeating was that the attorney was relatable. They were down to earth. They were just like them, all of that. Now, over the past year and a half, 2 years, with all the attorneys I've met with, being on Facebook, all of that, most of them are that. They are relatable. They're down to earth. They're just like you and I. They're like cool people, have a beer with, whatever, right? They're awesome people. Unfortunately, probably because of TV shows and movies, the public's perception of attorneys is that they're conceited, they're assholes, they think they know more than you do, right? All of that. That is what the public thinks of an attorney, and they got to be getting it just from TV shows and movies. And for us, since we've branded ourselves as non-stuffy attorneys, the public, if someone is searching for an attorney, they see 10 websites, right? They see 10 different attorneys out there. To them, they're all the same. Mm-hmm. Then they come to our website and it says non-stuffy attorneys. And they say, that's what I want. And they call us and we get our phone rings off the hook because we're the non-stuffy attorneys. They literally say over and over again, I called you because you're the non-stuffy attorneys. So we want to license that brand out to other attorneys and, small law firms and mid-sized law firms, get them to brand as non-stuffy attorneys and change the whole landscape of what the public's perception is of attorneys. It's a pretty big project. It's a pretty big thing to be able to do that. That's kind of where our thinking is on it. And yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting. And it would be a super big help flow to other attorneys and law firms if the public wasn't so skeptical of attorneys. Right. And unfortunately they are right now. They think they don't think they're very approachable. But once you get a client in front of you, right? Like you get a client in front of you, as soon as they start talking to you, they're like, oh, this guy's cool. Right. I like him, right? They know that you're relatable and down to earth and all that shit. But before they actually do, right? It's like, but with our brand, they get that perception before even meeting us, which is, it's been a godsend for us. Anyway, there's my future plans.
I like it. Got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. It's exciting.
And I see the dog out in the hallway, so that's like that extra non-stuffy guy. I see the dog he went down the hallway, or she went down the hallway. But I was like watching. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's. I see the. Now, do the clients see the dog when they come in?
No, they don't. If they ask for them, we'll show them. We have two of them, both golden retrievers. One of them is super well trained. Like I could take him in a busy city and walk with him off leash and no problem. The thing with him is he has this, the only thing I have not been able to train him out of is when he meets new people, he twirls around and he gets so excited and he's so happy. He won't jump up on people, but he circles and his hips will hit into people's legs. And he's a 75-pound golden retriever. And we got someone who's in here at 80 years old, right? It could cause a problem. And then during the pandemic, we got the other guy. And this damn dog, he's so sweet. Both of them are super, super sweet, super lovable. But when he sees somebody new or he doesn't really know you that well, he'll bark. Like sometimes I'll walk into the room and he starts barking at me. And it doesn't last long. He barks like really, really quickly, maybe a few seconds, but it's kind of loud. Right. He's not a barker, but when he's a little bit fear-based, a little bit. And so when something kind of startles him, he barks. I'm like, you son of a bitch. So we got this one guy who does twirls and the other guy who barks at his own shadow. So yeah, I would love it if one of them was, super chill and could just sit up front and, people walk in and he just lays there and maybe looks up at them and they pet him. Maybe when he gets older, they're still kind of 4 and 5 years old. But yeah, but the staff love them. It really, it's really great for the staff. Yeah, but that's the environment we have, man. We have people walking around in t-shirts and jeans and, it's just super relaxed, very, very productive. We don't slack on the production. We don't let people dress sloppily, but definitely casual. Yeah. Like I'm wearing a sweatshirt.
Yeah. Today. This is my, I can't really see it, but I have like a
you got a little polo on, right?
Yeah, with my firm thing on. That's usually what I meet when I meet with clients. I usually wear this because I like to be relaxed. If I greet them, I might put a sports coat on just to greet them in the lobby, but I'll take it off as soon as I get to my office.
And the thing is that that's what they want. They want you to dress like you're dressing right now.
Right.
They don't want you to be in that suit and tie, all buttoned up. It's yeah, man, it's just not what they want. You can go, you know, I urge anyone who's listening to this now, go and read a few hundred Google reviews, keep a survey on it, and you're going to notice people say that over and over and over again. And that was one of the things that I learned in, you know, I have a sales, administrative, and marketing background. And one of the things that we learned in marketing was that you have to survey your public. Who's your potential client? You have to survey them to find out what they like and dislike and what their feelings are about certain things. And you better freaking gear your marketing piece to that. Because if you don't, right, if you don't do a survey, you're going to just totally miss the mark. Right. And they call it shotgun marketing. You know, just shooting around, right? It's like what is the button that they have? It's like, okay, you could do it with, say, estate planning, right? With every client that calls up, we're doing this right now, actually, in our CRM. Anyone who calls up that needs estate planning, our intake team, there's a required question on there is, why do they want to plan? Why do they want to do estate planning? And there's a list of different things. Is it avoid probate? Is it because they're getting older, right? What are these things? And we're gathering that information right now so that once we have like, hey, this is a solid here, 85% of the people want to do estate planning because of avoiding probate, for example, right? 85. Okay, so now we know that in our marketing materials, that is the button to push, right? And you can push it in all kinds of different ways, right? Find out what they don't, what they want to, why do they want to avoid probate? What are the things that are right? But you know that that's the main button. Yeah, and so when I did that survey, it gave us that nugget of information. One of them was communication, right? You know, it was three things. It was the relatable, down to earth. The other ones that they were knowledgeable, that they knew their what they were doing, and then communication, fast communication. They answered the phone calls. They replied to communication quickly. The 1-star reviews was like, I can't get a hold of my attorney. Right. No one answers the phone. I leave voicemails. They never call me back. And so we then, it was like in our practice, we implemented these things. It was like, hey, 24 hours, you have to respond to communication within 24 hours, right? Knowledgeable, professional, that kind of, it's kind of, I mean, you can promote that, but it's kind of the proof is in the pudding almost. But yeah, man, it's like you do a survey of something and you find out what they want. Like, dude, they want you in that polo. That's what they want you in. They don't want you in the suit and tie. Maybe it's different in your area. I did a Google search in our area, but I'm almost certain if someone else in Idaho does the same search and surveys a bunch of Google reviews, they're going to find the same exact pattern of what clients like. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty interesting stuff. Yeah. So anyway, well, man, I appreciate your time.
No, I appreciate your time. Thank you for offering and inviting me. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. I felt like there's something else I was going to ask you, but it's on the tip of my tongue.
Okay.
Cool.
Maybe if you think of it later, drop me a note.
Yeah, I will. I might hit you up about that AI stuff on Google too. I need to learn a little bit more about that for sure. We want to get our Medicaid leads dialed in a bit. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Perfect, Keith. Well,
that survey process too, because I haven't ever surveyed. So I want to find out about that survey. I want to find out about the survey process, but I never surveyed. So I kind of talk to you how you set that up, and tools, and the process of getting answers. And so I want to kind of.
You know what? I'll tell you right now. It's super simple, right? Not a whole lot to it. You go onto Google, find some attorneys that have a lot of reviews, right? 40, 50, couple hundred, however many, right? And take a notepad and read the first review, and there'll be one or more points in there that they talk about, right? They'll say the attorney returned my communication quickly, right? Sorry, this is why I'm giving a 5-star review. He was fast to communicate. Okay, so then on your notepad, you create a section for communication, right? And now you read another review, and let's say someone mentions communication again, just put a tally mark there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they mention the attorney is knowledgeable, right? You create another category for knowledgeable, right? And so now as you read the reviews, right, you just start putting them in different categories, and you literally put check marks or tally marks.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea, you don't want to have so many different categories because they can usually be put into one. It's like, oh, he text messaged with me, right? So that one would go into probably the communication bucket, right? Rather than text bucket. Maybe it could be text, but yeah, if you saw a whole bunch of people saying, hey, he texted with me, right? Then maybe that's a thing. But yeah, it's really as simple as reading it, putting check marks next to these different categories that you keep hearing over and over again. And I would do it on your own reviews and do it on a bunch of the attorneys in your area. I would start probably with people who firms that practice the same law that you do first, and then look maybe outside that practice area and see if there's even more of a theme. But yeah, man, you do that survey and you'll see what people like and what they dislike, and then you give them what they want. Right? It's really as simple as that. It's like, yeah, if people are telling you, if people are giving 1-star reviews for attorneys who don't return communication, you better damn well return communication. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, not rocket science. Pretty easy, and it's very, very insightful.
Nice. Yeah, it sounds like something like, man, I should have just thought to do that, like in general. But yeah, that's good.
It's something you don't learn unless you really dive in. Actually, I tell you the truth, I don't think I've read a lot of marketing stuff. I've watched a lot of videos, read a lot about it. I work for this company out in California, and this was one of the pieces of technology that they had for their marketing team. And so that was drilled into me then, but everywhere else, I don't see it. I don't see it anywhere else, to tell you the truth. So it's funny that you said, well, you didn't think of it or whatever. It's not widely publicized. And it's kind of fucking idiotic if you really think about it, because you're trying to hit you have an ideal client, right? Okay, the person is 65 and over, they have this kind of income, maybe their assets are this or whatever your ideal client is. Okay, so you have that. But now, what does that client like and dislike? If you don't know that, your marketing, you could literally push a button that is the opposite of what they want. Right. You can start promoting yourself as this one thing, and they're like, I fucking hate that. But you don't know until you ask, or look. Yeah. So for me, it was kind of like it had been ingrained in me to do it. And then but yeah, man, I haven't seen it anywhere else. And you got all these marketers out there, millions of marketers out there. Everyone wants to do your marketing for you and all this. But yeah, none of them are really surveying, are they? Interesting. Yeah. So get on it.
I will. Yes, sir. This week. That's good.
Well, Keith, it's been a pleasure, man. Really enjoyed talking with you.
A pleasure on my end. Thank you so much for allowing me to even get on here. So I appreciate it. And thanks for rescheduling because we had an original date and it didn't work. So I appreciate your patience getting.
All good, man. All good. All good. All right, dude. Well, you have a great rest of your day. Don't hesitate to ever reach out to me if you ever need anything. And we'll talk soon.
All right. Thank you. And good luck with everything you're doing over there. And hope the director world works out for you and get the right person.
Me too. All right. See ya.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.